So now we're going to get into how to actually create your own levels. And to do that, you're going to need two tools. The first one, the smaller one here, is called the Thumper modding tool Resharp. And the second one is the Thumper custom level editor. You can find both of these on my GitHub. There are links in the Discord, in the custom level editor channel. So let's make a level. This interface can seem confusing at first, but as you mess around with it, things will start to make more and more sense. So the first thing you want to do is actually create the folder where the level will be stored. So you go into File, New Level Folder. We have a few options here. First one is where the level will be stored. I have a place here that will store all my levels. So I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this Twitch Sample. I'm going to put myself as the author. Difficulty. A while ago we came up with like a standardized difficulty for custom levels. This is what it means. This is a sample level. I'm just going to say it's D0. This doesn't matter. This doesn't actually affect the custom level. It's just for display and to let other people know what to expect when playing the level. And then you can give it a description. Other players will also see this description. It'll just provide a little more extra information of what the level is all about. And then you can click Save. And now you see there's one file here that loaded in the working folder. And the working folder is the folder that you selected where you are storing your custom level. And that's where all the rest of the custom level files will also be stored. So the first thing we want to do when creating a custom level is come up with some sort of pattern or beat that the player will play. And we do that using leaves. There's this big box here. By the way, all these can be moved and also resized. But if you have a larger screen, making the leaf editor big is usually better. You're going to create a new leaf. You can name this whatever you want. Lots of times, level creators will just name the leaf according to where they show up in a level. So if the leaf appears in level 2 and it's the first pattern, they might call it 2A. This is going to show up in the first level, and it's going to be the first pattern. I'm going to call it 1A. So now you are greeted with all of these options. Now we can start designing our beat. The main panel you'll be using is right here. It's called the track editor. And you can kind of think of this as a music sequencer in other applications that you might have seen. We can add a track, and then we can apply an object to that track. And these objects are what's going to show up in the level. So we have all sorts of different things we can pick from. Track effects contain things like the pitch of the track, roll, turns, scale, and also which lanes show up. There's various different thumps. There's the bars and the rings, the tentacles, and just a lot of other things. I'm going to be creating a basic beat, so I'm going to stick with track effects and thumps. If you want to create a custom level that kind of feels like a Thumper level, the first track that you want to add is a pitch track. We're going to also increase this beat length to 32. If you haven't noticed already, all Thumper levels usually have a slight upwards pitch to them, and adding this pitch track here does that for you. If you just add a pitch track and leave it blank, it will use this default value here to apply a slight incline to your track to make it feel more natural. Also, having an upward pitch allows the player to see further ahead instead of having it flat. And the next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add a few thumps. So once again, I press the plus button here to add a track. Switch over to thumps. I'm just going to use the first one here and apply. Now, because the track is empty, nothing's going to happen. I actually have to apply some values in here. So I want a thump on beat 4. I'm going to put a 1 in there. And then on beat 8 and 10 and maybe something like this. And also, hopefully it's visible, it might be too small on the stream. As you make changes to your files, the title here will say it's unsaved. So you'll want to save frequently so you don't lose your work. You can save from the file menu, and there's also keyboard shortcuts for all of these. So this is a very basic pattern. And now, to actually start building the level, I have to put a pattern into a level. So that's where this panel comes in. This is the level editor. I'm going to make a new level. I'm just going to call this 1A as well. The names can be whatever. You don't have to fit some standard. They can be whatever you want. So this here is the level editor. And what the level editor does is you can group your leaves together to build a full sublevel. So you can kind of think of a full level in Thumper as kind of like a tree. The entirety of the level is the tree. Each sublevel is a branch, and the patterns you find in the sublevels are the leaves. So we're going to add a sublevel now, and we're going to create that sublevel by adding patterns to it. This leaf here. So the leaf list we add, and I'm going to add leaf 1A. That's the leaf I was just barely working on down here. I can save that as well. The shortcuts for that are here. Leaf uses Control. Level uses Alt. The level is also where you set up your loop tracks and music that you want to play during the level, which you can do with this panel here. Go Add, then you get a drop down here which will show all the samples you have available. This is kind of more advanced editing the samples. I won't get into that today. But it is possible to change the samples here. This is not everything. I'm going to use a 7 rock pattern. I really like that one. and I think that's 4 beats. Guitar, if you're listening, is that 4 beats? Is a 7 rock pattern 4 beats? Pretty sure it is. Anyways, yeah, the beats per loop that you set here is how many beats will pass before the sample will play again. Hence why it's called a loop track. You could set this number really high to only play it one time at the start of the level and then never again. That's one way you could do it. Or if you set the beats to the right value, the sample actually does loop seamlessly with itself. I'm just going to do this for now. So now that I have my level, I want to actually put this into the main level so I can play it. And the file structure that we use to organize all the sublevels is called the master. So that's this panel here. We can create a new master. And we have here the level and gate list. Gates are similar to levels. I will get into those later probably. So just like the level editor, where we add leaves in a list, the master editor, we put levels in a list. So I'm going to add level 1A here. These checkboxes here are various options that you can choose. The Play Plus checkpoint, or Play Plus checkbox, if you uncheck that, this level will not show up when you play it in Play Plus. So that's how the main game does it with the tutorial levels. Lots of times at like the start of level 1 through 5 there's some tutorial, but then when you go and Play Plus, those sublevels don't show up. That's how they do it. So if you uncheck this, this sublevel will not show up in Play Plus. The checkpoint, if it's checked and you have multiple levels here, there will be a checkpoint between these two. And this denotes, and this essentially is how you create your sublevels. So if I have 2 levels here and this one has a checkpoint, I now have 2 sublevels. But if I uncheck this, there's no longer a checkpoint between these, so these two actually get merged into the same sublevel. So then instead of this being level 1-1 and level 1-2, with this unchecked, these are both just 1-1. I'm going to remove this for now, I just want one level. And like the other things, there are keyboard shortcuts for saving and stuff. The master editor uses Control-Alt together. And pretty much with that, we're almost done creating our level. One other thing, I'm just going to increase the BPM. 480 is good. These buttons here, these colors, there's these question marks everywhere. If you click on these question marks, they bring up some help. These colors set the colors of the track on the title screen. So you have some customization there. So just to show this off, I'm going to make this really wild. It's not going to look good at all, but it was just going to show it off. One other thing that is usually a good practice to do is create an intro level or whatever custom level that you're creating, so that the player is not thrown immediately into your patterns. Because at the start of every level, there is a fade-in that you can't get around. So if you put an intro level there, that just gives the player some time to prep, and it gives time for the fade-in to be over, and then your patterns can start. And that's what this option here is for, the intro level. We don't have an intro level, but we can quickly create one. Go back to the leaf editor. I'm going to create a new leaf by pressing Control-N. I'm just going to call this intro. And the only thing I'm going to put in the intro is the pitch. That's the only thing that's going to be there, because I don't want the player to be having to dodge turns or hit thumps while they can't see. That's just unfair. And now I need to create a level for this intro pattern to be in. So I can create a new level. I'm going to also call this intro. I'm going to add the intro leaf here. I'm going to do nothing with it. Just add the leaf. And refresh this, and then I can select intro level for the intro level. I'm just going to leave checkpoint level blank because I don't have extra levels to play. And these I'm just going to leave blank as well. And with that, we've created a very basic one sub-level custom level. And now we can play it. In order to play the levels, we use this tool, the Thumper modding tool Resharp. The first thing you're going to need to do is add your level. So as you can see, our level is loaded here, and it has all the options that we set when we originally created it. The name, the difficulty. It automatically populates the sub-levels based on what you set in the master. And here's our description. This is a sample level. Once you have your levels loaded, you can turn on mod mode. Thumper is closed. Now we can turn on mod mode. And now we can open Thumper. And you can see our level here. It updates the name. The rest of these are just no level because there is nothing here. With this one, we have one level loaded, so it's Twitch sample. And you can see the glorious rail colors that we set. Now we can play it. And that's it. That's how you create a very basic custom level. But now you're thinking, man, that was really boring. I want a more exciting level. Well then, we can just go back into the custom level editor, and we can edit the pattern leaf. So if we select the 1A level and the leaf, say, that was very straight, I want some turns. Well, I can add a new track. I'm going to add a turn object. And I'm going to put some turns in here. Let's just spice it up. I'm just going to, yeah, just some turns. Once you've edited your leaf, you just have to save it. You don't have to touch anything else. And then you can open the modding tool and press the Update Custom Levels button. You don't have to close the game or remove or re-add the level. You just press the update button. You can go back into the game and start the level, and the changes will apply immediately. Yes, the tempo can be adjusted. You do that in the master editor with the BPM. It's right now 480 because that's a BPM that the sample I have runs at. But we can change this. If I want a slower level, like if I want to be really drastic, I can change this to 200. Then save that, update my level, and then play it right away. And you'll notice it's slower. And you'll also notice that the sample doesn't loop properly because the BPM is off. So I'm just going to set this back to 480. Now that's pretty cool, but our level's pretty short. So to make the level longer, we don't actually have to create any new patterns. If we're happy with this pattern and maybe we want to play it a couple more times, we can just add the pattern again to our existing level. Let's say we want to do it some more, like 3 times. Well, that's possible. Now we have 3 of our leaves in a row. Update the level and play. Is this all making sense so far? Good. So now we have 1 sublevel right now. I want a longer level. So let's just create a new sublevel. I'm going to do that by starting with a new leaf. I'm going to go through this faster this time. I'm going to name this 2A. We'll start with a pitch track. I'm also going to add some turns, some thumps, turn. I'm going to put, I don't know, just numbers. Thumps. I don't know what this is going to sound like or look like. I am just throwing down things randomly. I'm going to create a new level. I'm going to call this 2A. Add this here. But I don't want to replay this. For the second level, I don't want to replay the same leaf for the whole level. So I'm going to create a new leaf here. I'm going to base it off of this one, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. There you go. It'll be kind of similar, but a little different. And instead of saving this, I'm going to do a save as, so I can change the name of it. I'm going to call this one 2B. And I can add this one in here as well. So now we have two different patterns in the same level. And now with this, I can add this to the master. Now we have two distinct sublevels divided with a checkpoint. And also, as you click on these menu items, all the other panels dynamically update. So when I click on 1A, I can see all the 1A loads into the level editor, and then it selects a leaf, and then the leaf loads into the leaf editor. If I go to 2A, the 2A items load. Everything just loads. Make sure to save the master. And just to keep things brief, I'm going to remove one of these from here. Once again, the level is already loaded. You just have to press the update button, and then you can play it. Well, that was interesting. Nope, and it crashed. Cool. Sometimes there's issues with pausing the game. But yeah, now we have a level with two distinct sublevels. You probably noticed though that there was like no time between crossing the checkpoint and when the data or the patterns of the next sublevel started. So to fix that, we can use the checkpoint level. And essentially, it's kind of, you can treat it kind of the same as the intro. It's just a break of space, just some breathing room so you can prepare for what's coming next. So I'm just going to put the intro level in here again because it's just blank space. And we can update the level. Once again, there's still nothing else loaded here. That's weird. You see now we have a break of space before the next pattern starts. And it shows there's only two sublevels. There's nothing else. So now we have some basic beats, some basic patterns. Well, what else can we do? What else can we do? Let's create a level 3. I'm going to show off some more objects. Let's call this 3A. I'm going to make this one longer. 128. The maximum a leaf can be is 255 beats long. That is a hard limit. Do not make your leaves longer than that. Your game will break. Let's add some turns again. Turns and thumps. Those are usually the required ones. But now let's add some extra stuff. Maybe some bars. And maybe we can get some jumps. Bars and jumps. So let's put a thump here. We'll do like a line of bars, thump, and then a jump. And this specific jump lasts 4 beats, so you don't really want to put anything in this area, otherwise you can't hit it. You could put rings there, because if you're flying, you can hit the rings. That'd be cool, but you don't want to put any other ground elements here. Then once we land, we put a thump, put some more bars. Then a turn. We're going to make this a long turn. The other turns I've been creating so far are just a single beat turn. And those you can, if you do a perfect turn around on a single, if you're flying and you do a perfect turn on a single beat turn, then you remain flying. A long turn spans multiple beats, and you can't fly around it. So to create a long turn, you just set a value across multiple beats in a row like this, and the game will handle that accordingly. And put another thump, maybe a bar, thump, just make something interesting. Kind of long. I'm gonna cut this off here at 72 beats. That should be fine. Make a new level. Call this 3A. Then we add it. And now our level has 3 sublevels. Complete. I have no idea what I created. It might sound whack. I also forgot to put loop tracks on sublevels 2 and 3, so these are kind of silent. There we go, now we're getting some variety. But there's some more variety we can add beyond just adding objects to the leaf. Hello, Kevin. You're Kevin Gem. You've likely noticed in the main game that sometimes you go through tunnels. We can add tunnels. When I go to the first level, we can set a different tunnel per leaf. So not everything has to share the same design. So even though these two leaves are the same in the first level, I can have this one open and give this one a tunnel. And you do that with this panel here. You select whichever leaf you want to apply your tunnels to. Then you press the plus button, and you have a big selection here. I am working on documentation of what these tunnels look like, because right now it's just words. So you have to select it, update your level, and then play it to figure out what it looks like. Let's just pick spaceship. So now if we switch between these, you can see this first leaf does not have a tunnel, but the second one does. So I'm going to apply a tunnel also to the second pattern of 2B. I'm going to give this one Octoglass, and you can stack tunnels as well. Some tunnels look good when you stack them, some do not, because some are transparent and some are not. So you got to find the good mix. Something like that. You are correct, Ninja. That's what I think of every time I play this game. Now we should see some tunnels. Now it's looking more interesting. But you've probably noticed over and over that at the end of the level, we just keep hitting a dead end. Nothing happens. The level doesn't actually end, you don't get the win screen. We can solve that by adding a win level at the very end. Now I have a win from another level that I can grab. Which one uses it? This one does. you can grab files from other folders and then just save them into the current folder that you're working in. That works perfectly well. And you can also select in the working folder here. This shows all the files that are currently in your level. You can select on these to load them quickly. So for the win level, a common thing at the end of every Thumper level, after you beat Crackhead, the track pitches down and then it fades out. So in this leaf, instead of leaving the pitch blank, every one of these beats has a small pitch downwards. You don't have to do this. Yes, Kevin, you can do that. I will show that off yet, if you want. So, in the win here, we have the pitch going down. We have this object here. These two specifically are very important. The win object and the win checkpoint. You can find them in the miscellaneous category. The win checkpoint acts as a checkpoint, except it's invisible and it doesn't count as a sub-level. Just when you cross it, it does the scoring. This is the same thing that happens at the end. Once you beat Crackhead, there's always the scoring that comes up. That's the beetle crossing a win checkpoint. So once we get to the win leaf, we put a win checkpoint right at the start so it does the scoring. Then we have a fade out here. It starts on beat 0 and goes to beat 32. And the value on beat 0 is 0. And the value on beat 32 is 1. And the game will automatically, I don't know the word, interpolate, shift between these. It will do a smooth fade out. And then at beat 32, once the fade out is at its maximum, we activate the win. And this is actually when you see the end screen and your final score. So in order to add a win, you have to make another level. You can't just add leaves to the master. Anything that you want to play in a master has to go in a level first. So I'm going to add a level. I'm just going to call this win. Add the win leaf to it. I'm going to do nothing else with it. Then I can add this here. Now if I leave this like this, at the end of level 3, it's going to put a checkpoint. And then there's going to be a long break of space because of the checkpoint break here. And then the win will start. And the win already has its own checkpoint. So I'm going to get like double score. And I don't want that. So you can actually uncheck this. So now it's going to merge the end of 3 with the start of the win. So now once 3 is over, it's going to go directly into the win. And there'll be no checkpoint and it will fade out and the level will be done. We can see what that looks like. Oh. Fade it. It fades out, and we get the end screen. It totals our score. So now we actually have a fully functional level. All the files are in the folder. We can mod the game with the level, and we can actually finish the level and record a score. Any questions so far? Do I need to go back over anything? Oh, yes. You can change that with the time signature option here. This doesn't this doesn't actually affect anything about the level. It's just a purely visual thing. You can change your time signature here. 6, 8. These are all the time signatures that show up in the game. So you have 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 5, 8. That doesn't actually change anything. 6, 8, 7, 8. It just changes how it's highlighted. And Kevin, you wanted to know how to do the Twisty Bits. So I'm just going to do that from the first leaf. I'm actually going to create a new leaf for that. I'm just going to call it Twisty. Back effects. I'm going to do this purely with pitch. And I think it's turn. Or is it roll? I don't know. You can add a roll. So to do the Twisty Bits, we can do some pretty sharp pitches. So if we go like 30, and then also put a turn on it, that's going to be pretty rough already, probably. Add Twisty up here. Move it to the front, so it's actually played first. You can see what that looks like. And this is a great part about these editors, is you can make a simple change, press update, and then play your level right away. You don't have to unload anything or shut down the game. So there's that. It kind of looks like what shows up in level 7. Maybe not as violent. You can make it worse just by increasing numbers. I'm actually going to put an auto turn here instead so I can use a higher number. There you go. That's pretty bad. Is that what you're looking for, Kevin? Cool. And now there's one final thing that I haven't showed off yet. And that's this panel here. It's called a gate editor. And a gate is where you spawn a boss. So let's create a boss. A boss is created out of 4 phases, and each phase is a level. So I'm not going to create new level and new patterns to fill this boss. So I'm just going to add existing ones that I have. Doesn't really matter. So we have 4 phases. If you try to add more, it won't let you, because then the game breaks. Bosses only have 4 phases. Each of these you can designate if it has a century or not. So let's say these I want. I'm going to give the phase 2 and phase 3, I'm going to give both of those a century. That is true, and that is an exception. That might actually be something to look into. But that might be something specific only to Crackhead 7 and nothing else. So there's a selection of bosses here that you can pick from. Let's say we want to fight... let's fight the Fractal. Level 9 mid boss is known as Fractal. This here, let's just expand this so you can see this help. The section type. If you change the section type, it changes the text that shows up on screen when you enter the level. So with section linear, you'll just have the regular level. If you change it to one of the boss sections, you get the boss text. If you change it to one of the crackheads, it'll say final boss, and it'll also say Omega. If you change it to pyramid, then you get level infinity. Because this is the final boss of the level, although we're not fighting Crackhead, I'm going to change the section to section Crackhead so that when we enter the level it says final boss. Because that's cool. I hope it makes sense now, Atar. Yep. There's these 3 options here. There's help text for these. The pre-level plays immediately when you enter this gate. A gate is a level terminology. So the pre-level is the first thing that plays when you enter a gate. The boss has not spawned yet, so when you're in the pre-level, you can't see the boss. Immediately after the pre-level, if you have a post-level, the post-level will play and the boss will show up. After the post-level is done, then your phases will play. And the restart level plays if you die or restart the level. And if you do that, it skips the pre and post levels. It just plays the restart level, the boss spawns, and you go into your phases. I'm going to leave these blank because I don't have things to put in them. But you can make like your boss intros super fancy if you mess around with your pre and post levels. It can get kind of interesting. So now we just add our boss here. We're gonna move it up so it's before the win. Just change around the checkpoints. So now our win comes immediately after the boss, and there's no checkpoint after the boss to the win. And now we have 3 sublevels and a boss. Update it and play. We'll see how this goes. Game crashed. Interesting. I'm not actually sure why it crashed. It's likely tried to load something that didn't exist. What if I was going to put the intro stuff into the pre and post level and see if that helps. And just so we can get to the boss faster, I'm going to remove these levels. Nope. Huh. Why would that be crashing? Let's try a different boss. Maybe it's the boss itself that's doing it. If it's the boss, then I'm going to pick a different boss. Let's fight this biograph. Nope. Something else is going on. Don't know what. Guitar, would you have any idea what's causing the crash? This was not expected. This should exist. Yeah, it exists. So what I'm doing is I created a boss level. Here's my boss level. It's got all my phases. I'm chose the spider graph. The section is boss crackhead. So it says final boss at the end. And I put it here. No, Ninja, if the boss node is wrong, it crashes when you get to that node, not when the boss loads. And it just crashes right there, like right before it loads. I'm not entirely sure why. I thought all my information was right. Here, if you want to look at this, here's the gate. Zoom in some more. I've tried two bosses now. They both do the same thing. Try starfish, sure. To try starfish. Have starfish. Update. Play the game. I want this to work at least once so I can just show it off. Like, I know all the bosses should work, and it's weird that it's crashing like this. Okay, starfish worked. That's weird. I didn't set any music for this, so it's kind of empty. And it fades out, and we're done. Very bad. It's showing 3 sublevels instead of 2 because we had a score saved on here before I removed the other sublevels. In order to correct this, I would have to close the game, unmod it, and then reactivate modding. That would clear the scoring. I mean, you can have tunnels on boss levels. Kind of interesting. Depends what you're doing with the boss. I'm gonna have to look into the rest of the bosses. It's interesting that only the starfish worked. But there you go. That's how you create a custom level. There's a lot more you can do than just this. I just covered the basics. Sentry wasn't rotating. I believe it uses a different sentry. Rhino, yes, there is a way to do custom audio. It's a giant pain though, and I'm not going to show it off. I've written a guide on how to do it. It is possible. That's that. Anything else that you guys want me to show off? How to change the skybox? There's here. I only have. I'm not going to cover how to do everything. This is just a basic tutorial and showing off what the editor all can do. In time, I'll make better tutorials. If there's no further questions, I think I can call it good there. Um, that is a good question. Let me locate that. Also, if you're in the Thumper Discord, it's in the pins of their reverse engineering channel. I think that will be it then. Thank you all for stopping by. I'm going to keep working on this editor, make it better, fix some bugs. Feedback is always appreciated.